Thank you, Madam Chair. Congressman Zeldin, in 2016, in a congressional debate, you said, quote, "There are many different ways that we can be better stewards of our environment. The key is to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels, to become more environmentally friendly, and to pursue clean and green energy." Do you still believe, Mr. Zeldin, that it's our job to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels?
Ideally, Senator, to the extent that, first off, I support all of the above energy.
No, I didn't ask you that. I said, do you believe it's imperative that we, using your words, reduce our reliance on fossil fuels? Do you still believe that?
In considering all factors, in an ideal world, we would be able to pursue always the cleanest, greenest energy sources possible.
Well, I'm not hearing you say that you agree with Lee Zeldin in 2016. So that means that we're in a completely different context than for your nomination hearing. Do you see the fires in LA right now? Did you see the storms ripple through Georgia and through North Carolina? The threat of climate change hasn't gone away since you said that in 2016. And I'm just worried now your change of tone is politics and not the science, which you apparently did believe at that time. Let me ask you the next question. Do you also accept that under the Supreme Court's ruling in 2007 in Massachusetts versus EPA, and in 3 subsequent cases, that the EPA is obligated to regulate greenhouse gases as air pollutants from motor vehicles, power plants, and other industrial sources as, quote, the Supreme Court said in their decision, may reasonably be anticipated to endanger public health or welfare? Do you accept that as a mandate, Mr. Zeldin?
Authorized. Yes, Senator.
You do?
Authorized to, Senator.
Authorized to. You don't actually then accept the requirement that you have to deal with the endangerment that fossil fuels actually poses to LA or North Carolina or Florida or the Gulf Coast almost on a yearly basis. You don't accept that.
Senator, I just want to be accurate. And in citing Massachusetts versus EPA, the decision does not require the EPA. It authorizes the
you're
EPA.
obligated. You're obligated to regulate. If you find there's an endangerment, you're obligated. Do you feel that it's an obligation?
Yeah, but it doesn't say that you are obligated to, and that's it. There are steps that the EPA would have to take in order for an obligation to be created. I'm just going off the actual text.
Right.
Of
well,
the
again,
Court legislation.
Do you think we're in danger in LA? Do you think the people in North Carolina and the Gulf Coast were in danger?
Are they in danger? Absolutely. For people who are having their homes burned down.
Then you have an obligation to deal with that and to do something.
Senator,
I'm not hearing your job at you see your job at the EPA as doing something about it. You know, we're watching firefighters run towards the flames in Los Angeles, and the EPA is responsible to keep the fiery embers of climate change under control. Power plants, cars, industry. Are you going to fight those dangers, Mr. Zeldin? Are you going, as you said in 2016, or are you going to fan the flames of destruction on the demand of the fossil fuel industry, which you now refuse to actually hold responsible for the rapidly warming country that we're living in?
Senator, there's a few things there. First off, as far as the Supreme Court case goes, it was not a decision of the Supreme Court that if there was a fire in 2025 in California, that if that fire creates a danger to people who are having their homes burned down, that the EPA is then that triggers the EPA to regulate carbon dioxide. There's just more to that. I'm just trying to be accurate.
It's pretty simple. it says the EPA is supposed to be the environmental watchdog and not a fossil fuel lapdog. That's what it says.
but
And
it doesn't actually
the EPA
say that,
is
Senator.
supposed to have families be able to sleep at night knowing their air is clean and the water is safe and their future is protected. And it just should not leave people up at night wondering if they are going to have danger that comes into their family's existence because of polluters. That's the job. And between 2016 and today, something has happened that you're not willing to just come right out and say that fossil fuels is the central culprit that has been ultimately created by human beings that the EPA's job has as a responsibility to reduce. And you refuse to actually take that central responsibility. Thank you, Madam Chair.